Friends and family, thank you for joining us for episode 2 of Sideline Savants here with the commish and my man, Mr. New York himself, Jason Colenso. How you doing, Jason?
Fantastic, Wayne. How you doing, buddy? Here we go, man.
Uh,
Let's go.
I am doing excellent. And Jason, before we go, I told you guys from week 1 that I was going to bring receipts. I got a little something tasty for you all. Jason told me that he was going to play Wilson for the Miami Dolphins, and said that HN was not the man. And let's see how that went. Jason was my opponent. HN 29.50 points. Wilson, wah, wah, wah. 3.2
Yeah,
wins.
I'm definitely gonna pay for that here. Um, I did lose that game to you, although we did play each other twice this weekend in two separate leagues. So you whooped my butt in that league. That was a horrible pick. I was trying a big dart there, and it fell flat. But I did get you in another one, so we're 1-1 right now against each other, and we play again in a third league this weekend. So we'll see who gets the tiebreaker. Maybe I can get a receipt on the board here next week.
Well, Jason, as they say, it's not personal, it's just business.
That it is. That it is. No, all is fair in love and fantasy football.
That's right. Well, while we're at it, Jason, let's talk about wins. I mean, I tell you, we called some people to start last week and some people to sit, and I was pretty proud with some results. I know for myself, I told you all that Chris Godwin was my must start of the week. The man was 7 of 8, 117 yards and a touchdown. Big win for me. My sleeper pick, which is always a little difficult to call, was Malik Neighbors. Neighbors went 10 catches for 18 and a touchdown. Um, it seemed like a no-brainer. He went up against the Washington Commanders. Pretty easy game for him, but I think Neighbors has established himself as the guy in New York.
You definitely were on fire this weekend with those picks. And I know I had Pierce and Austin Eckler. They had some decent games. They weren't busts. They at least got you some points. But your picks this weekend were on fire. Um, some of those losses. I tell you what, fantasy football owners, there's nothing worse than watching your bench blow up as you are losing to your starters. That's kind of the hardest thing to watch is when a lot of those bench points and there's nothing you can do about it. So it's gut wrenching. And I know a lot of you know how that feels.
How about you, Jason? What was a big? I know you mentioned Eckler. He had himself a pretty solid game. That was a good call. Anything else that you enjoyed watching that you called right?
Well, it was a heck of a weekend. There's some great games out there, but I tell you what, my biggest takeaway this weekend was the arrival of Marvin Harrison Jr. You want to talk about um, a week, week one, not really doing anything, and then all of a sudden, boom! I watched it live, Red Zone. Shout out Scott Hansen. Uh, Watching him produce 4 catches, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and just the way he was out there, he proved why he was one of the best wide receivers there. Fantastic game. He's going to be a special player. Watch out if him and Kyler Murray catch fire. He was my boom this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, what a thing to see, and it's funny because we're so hard on rookies. We want instant success, and after week 1, people are like, "Well, where is he?" Calm down. They had to build the chemistry. It was against the right opponent, and he absolutely rocked it. One thing I want to apologize to, and I should have known better. I picked Kyle Pitts, and pretty much non-existent. You told me, Jason, you called that right, uh, and it shouldn't have been a difficult call. Kyle Pitts is dead to me.
Well, I want to thank Kyle Pitts because his performance last night got me a win in one of my other leagues. So Kyle Pitts, being Kyle Pitts, helped me out. Again, he's got some talent. He just doesn't show it. He's not consistent with it. So yeah, thank you, Kyle Pitts. I needed the win.
In one league, I own Kyle Pitts and Dalton Kincaid, so I'm in a mess. Fortunately, I'm still winning. I'm 2-0 in that league. My other players have carried me through, but no help from either of those two. And I'm really torn to who I'm going to go with starting forward.
Gotcha.
Uh, since we got that out of the way, I tell you, a big news this week is all the injuries rolling out. I mean, we're seeing guys like Isaiah Pacheco with a fractured fibula. We're seeing Deebo Samuel taken out of the game. Any other big players that you've noticed that you're worried about or shocked about?
Well, all of them. I mean, right now the Rams, with Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup being out, you talk about a hit to fantasy football owners. And my biggest takeaway with all the injuries is a lot of the guys that went down were uh, people's first picks, first round, second round, third round picks. You talk about high hopes for a lot of the players. Pacheco, was a top running back. Now, where are you going to get those points from? Now these top picks that you had, where are you going to get those points from? And I know we talked about it a couple of times here about who can you find out there on the waiver wire, or maybe get a little trade going in one of your leagues. I know I have a couple of guys I want to talk to you about here. As far as running back, as far as fantasy owners, what you're looking for, you could probably get them on the waiver wire, or cheap in a trade, possibly. Braylon Allen for the New York Jets. You want to talk about blowing up and having a great game over 20 points this weekend. That 1-2 punch with Hall and Hall and Allen is going to be something special in New York, especially with Bryce Hall's injury history. Watch to see get some touches there. So I think Braylon Allen is going to be a solid pickup. If you can get him, he'll get you some points. I got a couple of wide receivers that you may want to pick up either on the waiver wire or again trade that were impressive this weekend, and building on that. Jalen Naylor for the Minnesota Vikings. He's got something special going on there with Sam I am Darnold. So 2 touchdowns back-to-back weeks. So look out for that one. I think he's going to get you some if you need a wide receiver. Josh Reynolds in Denver. He's got a little chemistry going with Bo Nix. Bo Nix trying to get his feet. Still wasn't great this weekend, but saw Josh Reynolds again up his points this weekend. So if you are looking for some fantasy relevant wide receivers, that's a couple of guys you can pick up probably pretty easily in your league to get you some points. And then if I had to throw a dart at a tight end, if you need to pick up a tight end, Eric All in Cincinnati is a beast. I think he's a big rookie. They're going to probably get him in the red zone and try to get him some touches. So if you're looking for some fantasy points, check those guys out. They at least can get you something. It's better than the old goose egg.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you got to find the value out there. I mean, a lot of people get bent out of shape saying, "Well, these guys aren't going to do much for me." Well, not much is better than nothing at all. And fantasy football is a game of numbers. 3 points can win your game. 3 or 4 or 5 points can win your game for you. A guy I like a lot is Dante Foreman coming out of Cleveland. They gave him the ball over 15 times last week. He's getting plenty of touches. Sam J. Perine out of Kansas City. That's another guy to look out for. And then Cam Akers, who we all thought was dead. He saw some playing time this week. And if Mixon's ankle injury leads into more missed time, Cam Akers might be somebody to look at.
Yeah, that's some great picks. Again, got to find that value. Got to start digging deep, guys. The injuries are only going to keep piling up. I don't think it's over. Unfortunately, it's still pretty early. So go out there and get some points.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Yep. Hey, Wayne, let's switch gears and get off the injury bug report because that just is very painful right now. We're going to have some questionable games coming up here. We're going to have some games with teams that people are just not going to want to watch, that are going to be some snoozers. Well, we got one coming up this week, Thursday Night Football, Pats Jets. Not a very sexy game. It's a Thursday night trap game. I hate Thursday night trap games. So Last week you sang a song about patience. I had a song in my heart this week. You know, find me somebody to
Somebody to
love.
love.
Find me somebody to love. Find me somebody to love. Can anybody find me somebody to love? By the epic band Queen. Wayne, let's find some people. Let's find somebody for the people to love. Who would you get to watch for the Jets and Pats? Who should fantasy owners pay attention to in this Thursday night game?
Well, I hate to state the obvious here, but Ramondre Stevenson is one of those backs that is getting 20 plus touches, and you don't see that much anymore in the NFL. It's usually a running back by committee. Stevenson, they're going to pound it down the Jets' throat. And I'll tell you, we saw that the first week when the 49ers ran Jordan Mason 28 times against the Jets, didn't let up. So I think Stevenson's going to have a heck of a game. As far as the Jets go, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to rely on the guy that he brought over there with Alan Lazard. I think he can have some relevancy in that game. Maybe get us some fantasy points there.
I can definitely see that. I mentioned this guy before. Again, someone to watch for. Dynamic rookie. Again, Braylon Allen, running back for the New York Jets. Again, I think the Jets got a 1-2 punch right there. Two-headed monster with Aaron Rodgers being long in the tooth, not really getting the ball deep down. They want to keep him healthy the rest of the season. So watch Braylon Allen get some touches. I think he's going to be someone to keep an eye on. And Jalen Polk for the Patriots. Hasn't done much. He's done a few little things, but I think he's getting his legs underneath of him. I think he is destined for a breakout game, and I can see this happening tonight, Thursday night, uh, against the Jets. Watch out for Polk. I think he get you some points. So at least we give you something to watch this game. Fantasy owners, I do. I think Thursday night games are a little iffy. I'd like that we have a couple of Monday night games coming up this week, which is going to be pretty cool. But we gave you somebody to love, a couple good picks there. Get those points, guys.
One more, Jason, I want to mention is Hunter Henry had a heck of a game this past week, and I'm fortunate enough where I have a wife that enjoys doing sports stuff with me, and she's in a fantasy league. She looked at me after that game. She said, "Babe, Hunter Henry is my waiver wire guy. That's who I want." So let's see if with my wife Emmy gets that right. I'm proud of her if she does. Of course, if she doesn't, whatever. What a pick. I think Hunter Henry could be a guy to look out for in that game as well.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. Going into the best segment of the day, which we all love to do, is why we're here. Start and sit, Jason. We're going to start out with our quarterback. Who's your must start for quarterback position?
Well, it's probably a no-brainer, but right now, Josh Allen against the Jaguars. Jaguars aren't really playing really good football. Again, really disappointed in Trevor Lawrence in the way he's been performing. Not really doing anything fantasy-wise. Josh Allen is doing something fantasy-wise, and especially right now with the Buffalo Bills and their clear path in the AFC East, with Dolphins having quarterback questions. The Jets are kind of so-so. Patriots still, up and coming. Right now, that's the Buffalo Bills division to lose. But Josh Allen, watch for him to have a huge game against Trevor Lawrence. I'm my sit a quarterback that hasn't really done much. They're 2-0. The Los Angeles Chargers. But Justin Herbert really just has not been impressive this week, this year so far. He's going against the Steelers. TJ Watt is probably the best defensive player, of course, since Aaron Donald retired in the National Football League. And I think he is going to eat Herbert alive this weekend. So I would stay away from starting him. I just don't think he's going to get you any points. Sitting Herbert, start Allen, no brainers. Who you got,
Yeah,
quarterback?
I got to go Kyler Murray for my must start against Detroit. Detroit lost their last game against Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks. Kyler's hot right now, and he got Marvin Harrison Jr. finally involved in the game, and I can see his success continue to go. My sit, it seems like a no-brainer, but we just got to mention it. Matthew Stafford against the 49ers. Stafford has no one in the past two. They're gonna pull out the old Hanks, as we like to call them, a bunch of guys we don't know their names. Old Belichick move. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Sean McVay handles this. But I don't see Stafford doing much against the 49ers.
No, I don't either, unfortunately, and that's too bad. Again, you lose two Pro Bowl wide receivers like that. There's not much Stafford can do. It's not like Stafford can run the ball himself. He's not, again, a scrambling quarterback. He's a pocket passer, and when you're in the pocket and you got no one to throw to, you usually end up on the ground. So, running back, I know right now, running back is real sketchy with a lot of the injuries and these teams. Some of these teams are doing running back by committee with the Chiefs and when their injuries. So, who are you starting and sitting running back, buddy?
I'm starting Ramondre Stevenson, as I mentioned before, against the Jets. We saw Jordan Mason run 28 times against this Jets defense. Stevenson can surely find that success. I don't think the Patriots have a whole lot going for them in their passing game, so they're going to keep relying on the running game. It's going to be a defensive game, not a very high scoring game, but if you're looking for touches and you're looking for opportunities, it's going to be Ramondre Stevenson. Uh,
Gotcha.
yeah, my sit. I got to go DeAndre Swift. He's done pretty much nothing. He's going up against the Colts. I was a big Swift fan. I think the Lions used him correctly. I think the Bears need to watch some old DeAndre Swift footage with the Lions to get him more involved with the passing game.
Yeah.
It's wild to me that they're using him the way they're using him very minimally. And we saw Khalil Herbert steal a touchdown from him, vulture touchdown from him this week. So I'm pretty nervous about Swift going forward. I do own him in another league, and I would love to take my own advice and sit the guy, but it's scarce out there. So, but if you can afford to sit Swift,
Well, mine a little bit different. I like Chardonnay. Again, I like my fine wine. Being Italiano, I love my wine. But Chardonnay was he had a great game this past weekend. It's got some points on the board. Again, covering for Walker. Walker, they're going to take their time with his injury. They already came out and said it, so don't expect to see him for weeks. So I think Charbonnet is going to fill in well, especially if Geno Smith gets the football down the field. You saw what he did with DK Metcalf and that big connection that they had over the weekend. So if Smith and gets that, and Smith and Jigba, also too as a wide receiver, if Geno can get the ball down the field and spread that field, watch Charbonnet to have some really, really big games going forward here. I'm glad I got him in one of my leagues. I think he is a definite start. If I had to sit somebody, again, we've touched on it a couple of times. The Los Angeles Rams are just they're searching for a soul right now. Kyron Williams, I would sit him because again, the Rams have nobody to throw to. They're those teams, the 49ers are going to put 8 in the box and just shut that run game down. I don't really see him in a very big game. There's not much you can do with that. 49ers defense needs to show up. They've had some pretty atrocious games. So this is their chance because they don't have to worry about, again, Matthew Stafford doesn't run. So you don't have to really put a spy on the quarterback. You just let Matthew Stafford sit back there until one of the front fours goes and sacks him. So Kyron Williams, stay away from him this weekend. I just don't think he's going to do much until the Rams figure out what they're doing at the wide receiver position.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some Blake Corum come into that game as well to relieve some stress off Williams as he's trying to carry that entire team all week long. So we'll see what happens there.
Yep.
Wide receivers, Jason, what you got starting for wide receivers?
Well, again, another no-brainer, but Devontae Adams. Watching that game this weekend, Minshew mania is in full effect in Las Vegas. You saw the way the team was rallying around him and playing for him, And Devontae Adams and Minshew are on the same page. He had a great game this weekend. He's going to have an even bigger game coming up here. They're going against the Carolina Panthers, who are reeling right now with all the drama they got going on. I just don't see them even showing up. We'll see. Hopefully they do and make it at least a competitive game. But Devontae Adams is showing why he is still a top tier wide receiver in this league. I know he's had an off year last year, but if him and Minshew get on the same page, watch out. You're going to see him blow up for some 30, 40-point games. And I can see that this weekend against Carolina. I think he's going to have a monster game. And as far as my sit, again, Thursday night trap, I hate him. Garrett Wilson, last couple of games really hasn't done anything. He's supposed to be the number one wide receiver in New York, and he's just not getting the targets. Again, Aaron Rodgers loves his guys, loves Lazard. Garrett Wilson's not one of his guys, so he just hasn't really been getting the ball. So Thursday night trap, Garrett Wilson, sit him. He's going to disappoint. Unfortunately, I don't see him maybe later on in the year when Aaron Rodgers and him get on the same page a little bit. But I think he's going to be a tough start the next couple of weeks. I just don't see him playing well against the Pats. The Patriots play the Jets really well. You know, you're talking about a division game. I don't see Wilson doing much of anything.
Yeah, my wide receiver is also an obvious pick, and I hate to go obvious here, but if you think about it, there's been a lot of chatter lately about Jamar Chase and how he's not looking like he's interested in playing with Joe Burrow anymore, or looking like he's even contributing. However, the Bengals go up against the Washington Commanders this week. The Commanders allowed Baker Mayfield 4 touchdowns week 1. They had 10 catches for Malik Neighbors. There's no reason why Jamar Chase should not have his back to relevancy game against the Washington Commanders.
Right.
Also, I got to say, my sit, and I think you'll get a kick out of this, Jason, is going to be Xavier Worthy. We had a discussion last week.
We
did. And it was about, again, receipts, baby. It was about Rice versus Worthy as far as the guys go in Kansas City. And Worthy, once again, only had 2 receptions with 4 targets and 1 rush for 5 yards. I said at week 1 that Xavier Worthy was going to be big play dependent. They're going against Atlanta. Atlanta just had a heck of a performance against the Philadelphia Eagles. I can see Atlanta giving Patrick Mahomes a fit. And again, Worthy is not going to get that big play each and every week. And I predict he's not going to get that big play again this week.
I don't know. I still got faith in him. Again, the Chiefs running back by committee. I think that Mahomes is going to get this kid the ball. I'm not counting him out. We'll see what happens this week, but I think Worthy's going to have a bounce back week. Be prepared. The Bengals played him tough, and they played him well this weekend, but I'm still not giving up on Worthy. He's still one of my starts, even though you want to sit him, but we'll see.
All right, let's go tight end, Jason. Who you starting for tight end?
Again, I got to go with a new monster that's out there, Brock Bowers, dude. I mean, again, you talk about someone that's getting his legs, finding his way in the NFL, getting some continuity with Minshew. Brock Bowers against the Carolina Panthers, again, I think is going to eat that team hurting right now, looking for an identity. Brock Bowers is proving, again, why he was a top pick in this past year's NFL draft. I think he's going to have that kind of game where you're going to go, wow, he's arrived. It's going to be one of those kind of Travis Kelce-esque 2-3 touchdown games. I think he's going to have he's going to eat against that Carolina Panthers secondary.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because last year the Raiders drafted another very talented tight end with Meyer. And when they drafted Bowers, I think the conversation was, wow, we're doing this again. But Bowers is a generational talent, and he is absolutely showing that he is the future tight end 1 of this league.
Start
Might be
him.
him. Might be him now. Absolutely start
Yep.
him.
I'm
Uh,
sitting, dude. I got your boy, and I know you got all of that awesome Raven stuff right behind you. Suggs, T Sizzle. I'm sitting Andrews. The tight end position has been tough in Baltimore. You had Isaiah Likely just blow up week 1 and then kind of fade week 2. Mark Andrews really didn't do anything the past couple of weeks. It's almost like he's afraid to play out there. If you kind of watch him and some of his reads, if you watch him running some of his routes, it's almost like he's kind of waiting to get hurt. And right now, the Ravens' identity on offense is a little suspect. You got King Henry back there, who is a stud running back. You got the NFL MVP, but they don't look impressive. Mark Andrews does not look impressive. I think, again, he's going to have another so-so game. Look for Isaiah Likely to probably have another big game this weekend. They're going against Dallas. Dallas was humiliated this weekend against the Saints. So I think that Dallas secondary is going to just manhandle the Ravens. They don't want to get blasted and beat like they did last week. I think this is going to a little more ground and pound game. Watch the run game for the Ravens. Watch the run game for Dallas. I think that's going to be more of what it is. But I am sitting Mark Andrews. I don't have any faith in him right now.
I don't blame you there. I could tell you the Ravens' offensive line is absolute garbage. It's been very difficult to watch them. The Ravens played the Dallas Cowboys, as you mentioned, and then the week after that, we played the Buffalo Bills on Sunday night, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens start out 0-4. And I never thought I would see the day of that, and I'm certainly not excited about it.
Hey, it's tough games right now. This is the NFL. There's more good teams than bad teams. So
Yep.
no, every week is not given. You got to go out there and perform, especially on the fantasy football side. You want points. Your team has to go out there and perform. So we'll see what happens. Now, I like going into a deep sleep sometimes because you got to really try to pull up the vibe and look for that diamond in the rough. Who's that guy that nobody else knows about? So when you pick him and you start him and he gets you something, you can walk around like a proud peacock when you win your fantasy week. My sleeper pick this week is going to be Demarcus Robinson for the Los Angeles Rams. Again, the Rams have no one to throw it to. He has picked up his points. He's going to get targets. Matthew Stafford's got to throw someone to the football. Watch Demarcus Robinson this weekend. He's going to get you some fantasy points. I mean, I don't know if the Rams are going to do much against the 49ers, but I think what they do, I think Robinson has the talent to be able to get down the field and break one or two tackles and do some yards, some yards after the catch. So sleeper, deep sleep. Demarcus Robinson for the Rams, wide receiver. If you need a deep a deep pick wide receiver right now, I think he's going to do pretty good this weekend.
Well, sometimes when Jason likes to go into a deep sleep, he falls asleep in class because I was not done, sir. My starts for tight end is going to be Juno.
My bad.
It's all good. It's all good. My start for tight end is going to be Juno Smith against the Seahawks. Tight end for the Miami Dolphins. He has been getting plenty of targets lately. I can see that continuing against the Seahawks. Juno Smith is going to be a guy that, whether it's Skylar Thompson or whoever else starts for the Dolphins, is going to be a safety net. I think he's bound to have a pretty good game and continue to see those targets. And let's face it, a tight end position is very scarce right now. People are looking for people to plug into their starts and give them a jump start. I think Juno Smith can do that. My sit is going to be Dallas Goedert against the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are rocking right now. Even on defense, Dallas did not show much of anything earlier this week. against Atlanta, and I think it's going to continue. Now we're getting to our sleeper picks.
Yeah, that Saints defense is legit, though. I don't want to interrupt
Yeah.
you here, but that Saints secondary, they look awfully, awfully good. I know Dallas didn't play very well, but give credit to the New Orleans Saints. If they show up this coming up week against the Eagles and shut them down, I think the whole league's going to be on notice.
My sleeper, I also like to go into a deep sleep and dream of possibilities. And I'll tell you what, there's a return of a NFL legend, as you will, Mr. Red Rocket himself, Andy Dalton. I know it's Red Rifle, but listen, I'm a child of the 90s, and we all know what Red Rocket is. Deontay Johnson for the Carolina Panthers. I think that could be a sneaky play. He is certainly talented. He should be the wide receiver one for that team. The Red Rocket is going to provide some experience, some much needed guidance for this talented wide receiver, and I can see Deontay Johnson having himself a game.
And I hope so. You know, he came over from Pittsburgh. That was a heck of a pickup for the Panthers to get because he is a talent. And they needed some talent. And unfortunately, with the quarterback play they've been having, he's been non-existent. So, but I can see that if Dalton can get the ball down the field to him, he's going to catch a lot of passes and he's going to get a lot of yards.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. Jason, thank you again for showing up and having some fun with me, talking some football, giving the people what they want, some starts and sits. It was a blast. Yeah. I appreciate everybody watching this. If you like what you see, subscribe to Boot Broadcasting. Do us a favor. Give us some comments. Ask us some questions, fantasy questions. We'll love to answer them. We'll see you next time on Sideline Savants.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.